Alright, let's go ahead and do this. Hello everybody, hello, welcome to the channel. Welcome if you haven't been here before. My name is Ricky Mike, and I am the coach of your Virginia Victinis, and you are here for this quick draft recap, draft analysis, whatever you want to call it, of our team for the WPF Delta Division Season 3. As mentioned before, my team is the Virginia Victinis, always will be, always has been. And yeah, we have been accepted for Season 3 of the WPF. So let's go ahead and do a quick recap of some of the general information about the league. First of all, again, Season 3. Just like last season, we have 16 coaches, 9 weeks during the regular season, which is pretty fun. I like it. It allows you to be more silly about things if you manage to get a good streak going. Of course, the Wi-Fi league, because I really like playing Wi-Fi leagues better than Showdown. Nothing wrong with Showdown leagues. I played them before. I just enjoy the game better on the Switch, as well as using my own Pokemon. Bans for movesets, just standard stuff like Last Respect, Shed Tail, Revive by Blessing, as well as not being able to baton pass stats or substitutes that would just be way too broken for a standard league that is not Ubers, and even Ubers probably. This is an upload league, and the uploads will go up every Friday. That's why you're seeing this video today. And last but most certainly not least important, we ended up getting the first overall pick on the entire draft, which I'm very psyched about. I have played in a lot of Gen 9 leagues, probably over 20, maybe it's getting around 39, and I can tell you with one hand how many times I have been on the top 5, top 3 picks. So I was very pleased and surprised to find out that I was the overall first pick, because I have very bad luck. And yeah, anyways, I have to have some severe thoughts about that. It actually took me about 5 hours to decide what I wanted to pick as my number 1 pick, and I ended up going with Annihilate. And I know what you're thinking right now. I know you're saying, okay, Annihilate is a very good Pokemon. It is an Ubers for a reason, right? But first pick in the late round, for your first pick on the late rounds is probably okay, but first overall pick on the entire draft, why would you draft this when you can draft something that is more immediately dangerous, such as a Dragapult, and that kind of stuff, like Chiempao or Samacenta? Well, I didn't draft Samacenta and Chiempao because they're banned this season, which sucks for me, but overall is better for the health of the league, in my opinion. That being said, you are completely fine. Your train thought is completely fair. Why would you drive this Pokemon number 1 overall pick? Well, that is because there has been one more change to how this season works, and that involves a certain mechanics that we all know and love on Generation 9, which means this is actually Terra Annihilate. Yeah, last season there was a low tier Terra only, which is okay, but I don't love it. But this season, we decided to put on our big boy pants and actually allow high tier Terra, which I like, because it allows you to draft stuff like this. Annihilate is going to be one of our Terra captains. You're allowed to have up to 2 Terra captains, as provided you have enough points on your budget. And that is where the catch is. You have to spend a lot of points to be able to terrestrialize things, especially if they are high Terra. You only have a budget of 25 points, and you can only terrestrialize things that are not banned to Terra, which Annihilate wasn't, surprisingly. However, to be able to terrestrialize Annihilate, you go from it costing 14 points to costing 18 points out of a maximum of 20 for tiers. But I still think that Terra Annihilate is an amazing pick. And to be honest, the main reason why I drafted it is because I play on other leagues. I try to have fun. I try to draft different things so I can use them. I have drafted Annihilate before late on a season, but nobody ever allows freaking Terra Annihilate, especially not free Terra Annihilate, because you don't even have to declare Terra types on this league. You do have to disclose what your Terra type is during team preview, called Terra preview. If you know, I suppose a lot of you know that, but even then, Annihilate is the only reason why Annihilate is an Uber Pokemon is because access to Terra. So, anyways, my mentality is I'm never gonna get a chance to draft Terra Annihilate again, so we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna try to have fun and validate and show that it was a good overall round 1 pick for the entire thing. But anyways, enough of my number 1 pick. Second pick, you may have actually, if you followed the season last season, you may remember my very controversial round 2 Deoxys defense pick from last season, which I completely disagree. I thought that Deoxys did incredibly well during the season. It was one of my best Pokemon. And you know what? Since that worked out, I decided why don't we go ahead and continue the tradition. However, like I mentioned before, I like to try different things, and I actually haven't been able to try a couple of the Deoxys forms. So instead of drafting Deoxys defense again this time, we're gonna go ahead and draft Deoxys speed, because like I said, I haven't been able to draft it before. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is because I have faced this Pokemon quite a few times now since it's been back on Gen 9, and this Pokemon is just so good in my opinion. The 180 speed allows it to be very offensive and very fast without needing to, have too much investment, which is deceptively good in my opinion. People don't realize that until you have to prep for it and you realize you can't just not kill this thing before it kills you. So yeah, very good Pokemon. Hopefully we can make it work. I think it feels my playstyle, and it gets the same it gets access to the same tools as the Deoxys defense, right? In spikes, in Stealth Rocks, Taunt is just much faster, a little bit stronger, but overall I think it's a very good pick. Anyway, since I was the wheel, my third pick is immediate. I decided to just go ahead and follow the good old draft the best thing on the board at this point, because I wasn't sure where I wanted to go with the draft, so I decided to go ahead and draft the Landshark itself, Garchomp. I had drafted this Pokemon several times. I love it. It's a great Pokemon. It's super reliable. It's a great toolbox Pokemon. Access to Stealth Rocks and Spikes is great. Facing with Roar and Dragon Tail is also fantastic. And it has setup, it's offensive, it can run special if needed. It's just a great Pokemon. I don't feel like I need to tell you too much about Garchomp. It's just a good offensive Pokemon, good defensive Pokemon. And yeah, very happy with it. But anyways, for my fourth pick, it took a while for the wheel to come back to me. And at that point, I decided that maybe I should start building up some sort of core. I don't have a fire, grass, or water type on my team yet, so I decided to go ahead and start working on my Dragon Fairy Steel core, and I decided to grab good old reliable Scissors. Why? I probably don't need to tell you, right? It gives me a Steel type that helps with the Fairy types that annoy Garchomp and Annihilate. A strong priority on both Bullet Punch and even Quick Attack if needed. You get pivoting with one of the strongest U-turns in the game. It's just a good Pokemon. It also gives me access to Defog, which is not very common on Scissor, but it's a good option to have at least. And it allows me, allows me for more access to Knockoff. It's my second Pokemon with access to Knockoff, I believe, which is my favorite move. I just love knocking items off on things. So yeah, drafted Scissor a couple times now. Is always good, always reliable. I'm very happy with it. But anyways, for my next Pokemon, I decided not to go for a Fairy yet because there were a lot available on the draft. So I decided to grab something that could fill roles. So I decided to grab this boy, Tentacruel. and it's gonna be my first Pokemon for, I guess, for my other core. But you know, always good as well. It gives me a poison type, which also helps with fairies. It gives me a grounded poison type, which helps with toxic spikes, as well as giving me access to toxic spikes, which is good. More access to knockoff, which is great. Access to rapid spin, which is fantastic. You know, it's a premium this generation, as well as toxic if needed. You get stuff like haste. It's relatively fast. Unfortunately, it lost Skull, but it gained Flip Turn, which is, you know, a good trade-off, or an okay trade-off. Skull is still better, but yeah, haven't been able to draft this in a while. Definitely not in Gen 9, so I'm happy I was able to finally get it, and hopefully we can make it work. Anyways, since I'm working on another core, I decided that I needed maybe a little bit more bulk on my team. So I decided to just go with a good old reliable Wrong Hit, because this guy is just good, you know. It's my first Pokemon weak to rocks, but you know, like I said, I have access to Defog and Rapid Spin now, so I'm not too worried about that. Also, no item close on this league, so I don't have to worry about not being able to run boots on multiple Pokemon if that's what is needed. It can set up. It's a good pivot, first of all, which is the main reason why I like it. It got access back to Pain Split, which I really like, because before it just really had a hard time healing without leftovers. You know, it has Nasty Blood. The combination of Electric and Fire is pretty good offensively. It can status Pokemons with, you know, either Thunder Wave or Will-O-Wisps, so all that stuff. Overall, I'm just happy with it. I think it's a solid pick. I think it fits the team relatively well, since it gives me access to, you know, an immunity to ground as well. But yeah, I mean, not much else I can say about it, right? It's just what it is. But anyways, for my next pick, I'll disclose that I actually picked something else during the draft. However, because I got one snipe during the entire draft, but because of that one snipe happening, I had to modulate my team and have to make some trades and transactions during Grace. So I originally picked Florges, but because something else got a snipe, I decided to trade for this little guy, Ribombi. Main reason why I drafted this thing is 100% the speed. I just wanted to have something that was faster than Garchomp, reliable enough, and it gives me access to Sticky Webs, which is always great on a very offensive metagame like Gen 9. It is another bug, but I really don't care much about that. And yeah, I mean, it can be low-key very good with specs. Can run Scarf because it has a decent offensive move pool. It gets screens. It's just a good overall pick. And I'll talk about a different possibility with it later, a little bit later on. But you know Ribombi, you love Ribombi, you know what it does, and I think it fits the team pretty well. Anyways, for my next pick, we decided to go with Galarian Moltres. Why? Because, well, I need a dark type, first of all. I wanted to have a flying type because even though, you know, ground type moves are annoying. Originally, this Pokemon was planned to be Iron Jugulis. Do I think Iron Jugulis is better than Galarian Moltres? Not necessarily. I wanted Jugulis for the speed because, like I said, I wanted something that was faster than Garchomp. But, you know, both they have their advantages. Moltres is an incredibly dangerous Pokemon. It will be better with Terra, but you know, I cannot Terra with being able to Terra Annihilate, so we just had to deal with that. Even then, this Pokemon is still pretty good in my opinion. Berserk, you know, is very annoying. It can set up both with agility and with Nasty Blood, so that's always good. It gets access to Sucker Punch, which is, you know, stab, and it's actually powerful on this thing, and more pivoting with U-turn. So, yeah, I'm not necessarily unhappy that I didn't get Jugulis there. To be honest with you, the only reason why I wanted to draft Jugulis is because I wanted to use the shiny version, but I never Cyber Dragon Cyber End Dragon, but I'm not gonna complain about Galarian Moltres. I think it'll do great. It's more special offense for the team, and that stuff. Anyways, moving on to almost one of our last Pokemon. That's gonna be my second Terra Captain. Given that my first Terra Captain is an Elave, I thought that it would be a good pair with this Pokemon. We finally drafted Blissey. I had never drafted Blissey before. I always go for other Pokemon, but Dragapult and Spectre allow in this draft, so you definitely need a strong normal type, or at least a decent normal type. This Pokemon is pretty good, but for what it does, obviously. But like I mentioned, this is gonna be my second Terra Captain because the points just allow it. And yeah, I think that it can be very underrated. This Pokemon being able to Terra might just be unkillable for your opponents. So that's the main thing that I'm going for it. And Elave is a type of Pokemon that, yeah, you can utilize Terra very well, but it doesn't necessarily need the Terra, if that makes sense. So, Blissey might be the one that end up Terraing and, just doing all of the work on the team. But anyway, that was my original plan. The way that things work out, this will be my last Pokemon. That will be the 9 minimum required for the roster, and we'll be done with it. But because I had to pivot into Ribombee and Moltres instead of Jugugliss and Florges, I ended up with one extra point, which I can and will use, and I should commend the league for actually putting usable Pokemon on the 1 tier point. Most leagues will just put trash on the 1 point tier, and you will draft something because you just got the points and you would never use it. I did that with I think it was, what was it called, Mass Green last season. But this season, they actually put some usable Pokemon in the 1 tier. Took a look at it, I saw this guy, and I just had to get it, man. I always wanted to draft this. It's never been good enough to draft, especially when it costs more than 1 point. But at 1 point, I will take it. I just think it's a sick looking Pokemon. Access to Nogar Stone Edge is great. And yeah, is it gonna come every week? No. Is it gonna come most weeks? No. Is it gonna come to at least some weeks? Hopefully. We'll see how it works out. But if nothing else, I think this is a pretty cool Pokemon, and I'm happy to have it on the team. This is the midnight version, obviously, and yeah, gives me more Stealth Rocks, I guess, gives me more Sucker Punch. I don't know if he gets knockoff, but that would be great. And yeah, just cool stuff, right? Anyways, that is gonna be the team for the Virginia Victinis on Season 3 of WPF Delta. Like I say, I'm overall very happy with the team. I like it. I think it fits my playstyle. If you were not aware, last season we managed to make it all the way down to semifinals. But hopefully we can do a little bit better than that this season, and show up that ultimately we just want to have fun. But winning is fun. So right. Anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and do like and rock and just holler the moon. Get out of here. Thank you for watching. We'll see you every Friday with the battles, and peace out.